What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In this very short video, I want to bring your attention to the fact that stagflation is political BS, and the Fed, unlike today where they held pat, will be aggressively cutting rates in the third and fourth quarter. This morning, however, in terms of not doing anything today, we had a red-hot PPI number that was more than double estimates. And when you dig into that report, as I did, something called dry and fresh vegetables was up 49.5%, right? Last year, it was meat that was out of control. Now it's fresh vegetables. And we haven't even factored in $100 a barrel oil. So for the next month or two, PPI and to some extent CPI will run hot. But once we get into the summer and the new guys in charge in the Fed as of May, things are going to change in a big fucking way. If you look at the political landscape right now, or what I often call the fake news, all the ones that are trumpeting stagflation, which is basically super high inflation that lasts for a long time as the economy goes into the dirt, are leaning left. They want nothing more than to bury number 47 and take back control of the House and or the Senate this fall. I think the House is possible. It's a coin toss, not going to happen in the Senate. But once we get into the second and early part of the third quarter, there's going to be two things that are screaming at the new guy. And one of them I mentioned yesterday. And that's the problem inside the shadow banking system. There are billions of bad loans that are being hidden in college endowments, pension funds, etc. Basically, any institution that doesn't have to report in real time to the street how bad their loans really are. They may mention something along those lines very carefully, because again, they're not moving today on rates, and it will not happen again in April because of a hot CPI/PPI number. They may mention somewhat of an increase in liquidity, and if they're going to do that, it's going to have to be very, very careful, because the last thing that Jerome Powell wants to do is come across as dovish when you got a PPI number this morning that was more than twice estimates. But again, when you've got bad loans a la 2008 and 9, if it gets completely out of control, and we already have big institutions like BlackRock and Blue Owl and Apollo that are telling accredited investors, oh, by the way, you can't sell your funds. Are you shitting me? That's a problem. If it gets out of control, we're going much lower. But the second and most important reason why stagflation is political nonsense, it's nothing more than a hit piece against Trump and the GOP, is that rising unemployment is going to start to get out of control in the end of this year, beginning of next, in large part because of AI. And whether it's real or not in terms of replacing human capital, you've got companies like Square a couple weeks ago that laid off 40% of their workforce. And when you start to see, and by the way, the stock went up, Meta and Amazon and Google and Tesla, which is gagging in terms of their EV business, start to lay off 10, 15, 20% or more, you're going to see unemployment tick up to as high as 6%, maybe even higher. And that's when the Fed is going to get aggressive. Right now, you've got the Dow down 400. That's up a bit. You've got the Qs near 601. Always remember this as a side note. First move, wrong move. We go up into the close today. We're most likely going to give it back tomorrow and or the next day. The real action is going to come next week. And as I just said, unemployment is going to be a major problem. And you might be sitting there in closing wondering, okay, if unemployment's about to go much, much higher and GDP growth is going to flatten out or even go lower, Jason, why are you so fucking bullish on equities, crypto, and even housing? Answer, what happened in 2008 and 9? We had bad loans. They turned off the credit supply. We had banks, institutions, brokers, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns going out of business. If we have a mini 2008 as a result of all this human capital getting replaced by AI, what's the Fed going to do? Well, let's see. If oil comes back down to 65 or 70 and the red hot PPI, which will last another month or two, comes back down towards 2.25% to 2.5%, what are their mandates? Inflation and full employment. So if inflation comes back down, and as I said yesterday, what is gold and silver down again? You might be thinking, how in the world do we got a red hot PPI and silver's getting fucking crushed? Answer, disinflationary or deflationary tailwinds are coming. AI is going to be able to make things faster, quicker, cheaper, more efficiently than human capital. They're going to whack up to a quarter, if not more, by 2030. And that's going to drive unemployment much higher as inflation turns into disinflation or deflation within the next 2 to 3 years. So the Fed's mandate is if unemployment is rising and inflation is coming down, what do? They print trillions of dollars and they lower rates dramatically to stave off a fucking recession. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said yesterday, and I've been telling you now for years, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've been in the weeds for over 30 years, half of that as a broker from 93 to 07. I've made all the mistakes so you don't have to, including going bankrupt in 2008. And pinned in the top comment is your ticket to motherfucking paradise. We had one guy take advantage of it last night. Hopefully we'll get 2 or 3 more this afternoon. It's $40 for your first 2 months. Because if this market's going to go sideways to even down over the next 3 or 4 months, you are going to need me more than ever. You're not going to make any fucking money in a buy and hold strategy, not at least for a while, which means you're going to have to make up that difference trading the stock market. Nobody does it better. 100 wins, only 3 losses since last August. And until next time, always remember that I love you and I hope to see you join us right fucking now in the pinned comment below.